Donald Trump turns his attack dog into an obedient lapdog. Aw, what a good boy. This is just another day. Today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump met with NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte, and as you'd expect, our president was laser focused on the issues of the day.
Look, the autopen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we've had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal.
Always fun to hear someone play the hits, don't you think? And the reason Trump keeps rocking that tune is because there's this other song that he's trying to drown out.
Let me just ask you, make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
It is peak 2025 when you're taking the temp on the room's interest in a dead pedophile using the same applausometer you'd use to ask, who wants a free t-shirt? Yes, this weekend, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA held its Student Action Summit, but really it should have been called Epstein-a-Palooza because after last week's move by Trump and his Justice Department, where they said, nothing to see here, case closed, well, these folks refused to let it slide.
She also brought in some of our best influencers, people that I care about deeply. Jack Posobiec, who's incredible, Libs of TikTok, Chaya, DC Drano.
Yeah.
And she gave them these binders. And she humiliated them.
Yeah.
And you guys know what I'm talking about? Where she did this stuff with the binders?
This?
And
yes.
You guys were upset. But you shouldn't be upset, the influencers. They were handed these binders like there was something incredible in them.
It is what you would do to an enemy.
Exactly. This is how you treat an enemy, not a highly respected, upstanding member of the Fourth Estate like DC Drano. But Charlie Kirk, the man running this whole show, was adamant that this aggression will not stand, man.
Unless we are to believe he personally was after every one of those victims, there has to be some other bad guys still alive that are powerful that did something to these children. Why are we not impaneling a special prosecutor to find every single one of these powerful people that went after these kids? Like, what? Why are we putting up with this?
Yeah.
Yes, why are we putting up with this? We should be standing up to the deep state elites that clearly don't want this information released, right, Charlie? And if that information is not being released, I can only assume that it's because the deep state got to them, meaning the responsibility falls to us, Charlie, to call out those who've been compromised.
And then we're learning, as you mentioned, John, that the president has been personally calling some of his fiercest supporters. That includes Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA.
That's right. While the war between Russia and Ukraine rages on and the tragic Kirk County relief effort in Texas continues, our commander-in-chief may have been busy winning another historic victory at one of his own golf clubs this weekend. But that didn't mean he was too busy to give Charlie Kirk a little ring-a-ding-ding to tell him to knock off all the Epstein chatter. But Charlie, our Charlie, would not be swayed by that. I mean, this is textbook deep state pressure tactics. There is no way that something as simple as a phone call would be enough to topple all of Charlie's long-standing principles.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands.
Oh, there are definitely some balls in hands, and they have been given quite the squeeze. My God, you know what Charlie Kirk is? He's Trump's dog, and he is a very, very good boy. I hope Charlie's getting lots of treats and belly rubs for being trained so well. And that's especially impressive when you consider that he's still recovering from being neutered just this weekend. But this total about-face by the deep state's very good boy, Charlie Kirk, brings us back to the autopen. Kirk and his minions have gone from relentlessly demanding the Epstein files to relentlessly demanding the autopen files, all in a Hail Mary effort that this will distract people from the very thing that they have been obsessed with for years. Tennessee Representative Tim Burchett says autopen should equal auto jail time. Cat Turd says autopen pardons equal null and void. Libs of TikTok says Biden's pardons of the January 6th committee were signed by autopen at the discretion of an assistant. And Nancy Mace asserted that because of Biden's use of the autopen, his entire administration was a cover-up. I guess it's like that old saying, the pen is mightier than the highly connected billionaire pedophile. Here's the reality. If you are still talking about the autopen today, You are the very villain that you have decried for years. The entire raison d'etre of the right is going after the elites who protect deep state cover-ups. It is an army of people who refuse to buy the supposed bullshit being peddled by government officials. Well, I'm sorry to say, but you're in a bit of a pickle now, aren't you? Thanks to thousands of hours of breathless podcasts and thread after thread after thread of the angriest of tweets, you have sowed a level of distrust that you can't come back from. When an extremely large chunk of your business is built around getting to the bottom of who was accompanying this guy on vacation, it's kind of hard to put that topic on ice. And the autopen, this is what you're hanging your hopes on? A completely legal thing to do.
But experts say even if he did use an autopen, that wouldn't make his orders illegitimate.
The text of the Constitution in Article 1 refers to the president signing it. It doesn't say literally whether that must be, by his physical hand or not.
Exactly. Article 1 of the Constitution does not specify that actions must be done by physical hand. I believe it's what constitutional scholars refer to as the fleshlight clause. And by the way, the use of the autopen did not originate with Biden or Obama. This thing goes way back.
But it's been used in the White House for decades, even centuries, for things like written communications and autograph requests. The Thomas Jefferson Foundation says our third president was known to use a precursor to the autopen known as a polygraph for making a copy of handwritten letters.
That's how long the practice of an autopen has been around, since the 1800s, back when Joe Biden was just a teen. The reality is Charlie Kirk's entire brand is predicated on exposing those who can be silenced, those who can be bought by the government. Well, guess what? Charlie Kirk should have a just sold sign added to his forehead because Trump owns him now. After spending an entire weekend railing against the White House's cover-up of Epstein, then getting a phone call from Trump telling him to find something else to focus on, that is exactly what Charlie Kirk did. He tweeted, "Fauci was pardoned in the dead of night by autopen. The use of autopen was approved by a White House aide." And he retweeted questions from Peter Doocy all about Biden's autopen. You know what that's called? Being a very good boy. As for Trump, he says that there are things that are simply too important to devalue with an autopen.
You know what the autopen is supposed to do? Sign thousands of letters from young people that write. We get thousands of letters a week, Susie, right? Thousands. I mean, tens of thousands sometimes. I look at there's a room where we have many, many people working, responding and sending letters back. That's what an autopen's supposed to be. To write to a young 7-year-old boy that writes to the president, and he wants to be president someday, and he loves America. That's what the autopen's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be for signing major legislation.
Hey, way to turn your little distraction effort into an admission that you don't read any of the letters children send you. What's next? Taking their dolls away?
Maybe the children will have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls,
Oh, right. But Trump is consistent. He's always said that a real signature matters, and it's saved for meaningful things. Like when you're trying to sling limited edition Bibles for $1,000 a pop. Hey, you know what's not worth $1,000? A book signed by the guy who didn't write it. And if you don't believe me, then I'd like to offer you my personally autographed copy of Treasure Island. This is your chance to own a literary masterpiece written by Robert Louis Stevenson, but autographed by me, someone who had absolutely nothing to do with it. Now, if you're looking for a more realistic story about a different treasured island, well, I'm afraid someone says that story doesn't even exist and everyone should just move on. Who's a good boy? Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.